Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Frankie Jackson-Spence. I'm an NHS Junior Doctor. In this video, I'm going to chat to you about sleep. Now, lots of you watching this will be really aware of how important our diet is for our health and how important regular exercise is for our health. But many of you might not have considered sleep as this neglected pillar of our health. And let me tell you, it is. As a society, we are in a sleep deprivation pandemic, to put it simply. We don't get enough sleep. We know that from studies, and we know that from little things we say in our day-to-day lives, such as no rest for the wicked or sleep when we're dead. We have this kind of hustle culture in society where we applaud each other for being busy, and often it's at the expense of sleep. It's World Sleep Day, and this video is going to teach you the importance of getting regular, good quality sleep and the impact that can have on your future health. So the obvious one is that sleep is so important for our mental kind of cognitive function, our problem-solving abilities, our ability to concentrate at work and do good quality work. You might have noticed that if you've had a bad night's sleep, you just can't concentrate on your task, or it might take you longer. And that is because sleep is so important for forming memories and all these things that go on in our brain that help us concentrate and problem solve. And we know that sleep deprivation can inhibit that. But it's not just about concentration and performance. Sleep can also affect our ability to recognize facial expressions and pick up on social cues. You might have felt this before when you're a bit sleep deprived and you think that everyone's out to get you, or you think your colleague's a bit snappy or something and you snap back. And actually, not getting enough sleep can affect our social relationships as well. In terms of our mental health, we know that sleep is hugely important. Not only is not getting enough sleep associated with higher rates of anxiety and depression, for example, but we also know that in other mental health conditions such as bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, those conditions are also linked to not getting enough sleep. So it's hugely important. We know that sleep is really important for our mood. If you don't get a good night's sleep, you might feel a little bit more snappy or moody the next day. It does go beyond that, and sleep deprivation can be a risk factor for developing mental health issues. Sticking on the topic of brain and mental health and things, we also know that not getting enough sleep is linked to higher rates of neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's and dementia, and sort of increasing the rate of brain aging. So a good night's sleep can also keep your brain healthy. In terms of medical conditions, we know that not getting enough sleep is linked to higher rates and higher likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, which includes heart attack and strokes. So hugely important. And you might not notice it when you're only kind of getting 7 hours instead of the recommending 8, but these things can have a massive impact over the long term. If you add up that half an hour a night that you're neglecting, that adds up to 3.5 hours a week. We also know that if we don't get enough sleep, it can negatively impact our immune system. So we might feel more run down and more susceptible to picking up coughs and colds. And lots of you might also be interested to know that not getting enough sleep has also been linked to weight gain. So some small studies have shown that if you don't have a good night's sleep, you're likely to eat more than 400 calories extra the next day. And if you think about it simply, food is energy, right? So if you are sleep deprived, you might look for energy in other sources such as caffeine, but also by eating more. And it tends to be that you might pick more sugary, energy-dense foods as well when you're sleep deprived. We live in a generation where sleep is a bit stigmatized, and actually it's super important to get at least 8 hours sleep per night. And what's important with this is that it's 8 hours of sleep per night, not being in bed for 8 hours. So we're all guilty of getting into bed and then scrolling on our phones, but you want to maybe get into bed half an hour before you plan to go to sleep. And also give yourself a little bit of extra time in the morning as well. So you're aiming for 8 hours of shut-eye rather than 8 hours in bed. So my top tips for getting a good night's sleep. These are really simple things that you can incorporate into your daily life. And even if you try and adjust one of them each week, you're on the right track to getting better quality sleep. Because the number of hours of sleep is very important. As I said, 8 is the magic number. But the quality of your sleep is also really important for your health. So tip number 1 is to try and get the same number of hours of sleep each night. So don't think of sleep as money where you can accumulate debt in the week and then pay it off at the weekend. You want to try and be getting 8 hours a night consistently. So if you're only getting 4 or 5 in the week, but then at the weekend you sleep in for 12 hours, it's not as good for your health as consistently getting 8 hours a night. So try and stick to a same bedtime each night and a same wake up time. And what I think is really useful here is, just like we set a wake up alarm, I like to set a go to bed alarm. So about an hour before I want to be asleep, I set an alarm on my phone to remind me to start wrapping things up, to dim the lights down, to brush my teeth and kind of do my bedtime routine, and that helps me unwind before I go to sleep. On that note, having a wind down routine and turning the lights down is really important for getting good quality sleep and helping you drift off. One of the sleep hormones, melatonin, is light sensitive, so if you keep the bright lights on, it's going to cause chaos with the hormones in your brain that signal it's sleep time and mess with your circadian rhythm. So just like when it gets dark outside, you might start to feel more tired, your brain responds to artificial light in the same way. So an hour before bed or so, you want to dim the lights and try and kind of let your brain know it's time to unwind and time to go to sleep. And on that note, having a pre-bed routine can be really useful as well, because it kind of trains your mind that you're gonna then be entering sleep. So having things like reading a book or using a pillow spray or making something like a non-caffeinated tea before you go to bed, turning the TV off, all of these things can help train your mind to think, I'm gonna go to sleep soon. The obvious one is to reduce caffeine. Now, caffeine has a really long half-life in our body, and everyone metabolizes caffeine different. So you might be someone that thinks that they can drink caffeine in the evening after dinner and then still get to sleep, whereas other people might feel like they can't have one after lunch. Caffeine can stay in your body for about 12 hours. So if you're having a coffee at sort of 11 o'clock in the morning and then struggling to get to sleep at 11 p.m, it might be that you're not metabolizing the caffeine very fast. As we go through the day, a hormone in our body called adenosine builds up, and this makes us sleepier and sleepier. Now, caffeine inhibits that sleepy hormone and makes us feel more awake, which is why we like it. So drinking caffeine too close to bed can inhibit all the sleep signals that go on and interfere with good quality sleep. Similarly, blue light from our phones, TVs, tablets also inhibits with the sleep signals. And really interestingly, an hour of blue light, so an hour of being on your phone before sleep, is equivalent to drinking a cup of coffee. So actually you want to be switching off all of the blue light about an hour before bed and really winding down. Another one people don't tend to think about is alcohol. Many of you might know that when you drink alcohol, you feel like you've had a really good night's sleep afterwards, and someone might say, oh, I passed out after a few drinks. Now, alcohol puts you into a sleep where you might get 8 or 9 hours, but they're not good quality hours of sleep. So during sleep, we have this wave of light and deep sleep, and we fluctuate between the two. Alcohol can interfere with that natural rhythm, and actually, even if you're getting 8 hours, it might not be good quality 8 hours, and the next day you might wake up feeling tired and groggy. So avoiding alcohol as well will help benefit your sleep. The next is to keep your bedroom cool, and this is in terms of your duvet, your pajamas, and the room temperature. We know that our body likes to drop its temperature 1 or 2 degrees as we enter sleep. So if you are too warm and cozy, then it could negatively impact your sleep. So keep your bedroom cool. And the final one, which I think no one really listens to, is that if you find yourself struggling to sleep and you're not tired, it's better to get up and leave the room and go into another room and read a book or something until you feel tired, and then go back into the bedroom. It's important that you associate your bed with sleep, not with sitting there frustrated counting how many hours until you got to wake up. I hope you found this video useful. I really want to emphasize how important sleep is to your long-term health. It's just as important, if not more, as good nutrition and exercise, and these simple tips will help you not only get your 8 hours, but better quality 8 hours of sleep. So make sure you let me know if you try these tips out and see if your sleep quality improves. I'll catch you in the next video. Bye now.